All right, so this is lesson 2.6, day 2 of piecewise functions, and we are going to go in the reverse process in this lesson, and we are going to actually write the piecewise. So for this one, you are going to need a pencil and some form of a straight edge or ruler. So what we're going to do is to write the function for each piece, you need to determine the number of graph pieces you have. Then we're going to find the slope-intercept equation for each piece. So we might have to draw that ghost part to actually figure out what the y-intercept would be. Then we're going to determine the interval, so where it exists, if it's going to be greater than, less than, etc. And then we'll double check the open and closed circles to match those inequalities so that they don't overlap. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our two examples here that we're going to do together. So we've already actually got the pieces in place for these two. I'm actually going to do this one up here and then one that does not have the pieces, number 3, and then I'll leave you to do numbers 2 and 4. So let's take a look at this first one. So how many pieces do we have? 3. So we should have 3 pieces here. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to have 3 of our interval kind of parts. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I like to go from left to right. So let's start with this line here. We do not see it continuing to touch the y-intercept. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue the slope of up 1 over 3, up 1 over 3, and I'm going to continue that line. And you can draw it all the way through, but you really just need all the way to where it's touching the y-axis. So we can see that it's touching the y-axis at 0. So if you want to put the plus 0, you can if that helps you. Now we need our slope, so we can put it in front of the x. We don't actually put the y equals, we just want the mx plus b, because this is basically our y equals out here. So let's go back to our slope. It was an up 1 over 3, a rise of 1, a run of 3. So we should either have 1/3 x plus 0 or just 1/3 x, because we really don't necessarily need that plus 0. Now, if you want to go ahead and put your intervals, you can, or you can go back and do that afterwards. Let's go ahead and do it now. Since this is a closed circle, we know there's going to be the line underneath the inequality. Are we going to be less than or greater than? So we are going to the left. And we know that going to the left is less. So we want the teeny tiny tail end to be pointing towards the x for less than. All right, sorry about that. So we have now, what number is our x value at? So we're going to go to our dot, and then we want to figure out what is this x value. So we are right here at -3, -1, -2, -3 for the x value. So we're going to put a -3 right here. And now that line is done. So let's take a look at our next line, the one in the middle here. So again, we're going to write the equation for this line. Nice thing is this one's actually touching the y-intercept, and it's touching at 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead and put our 4 in here for the intercept. Now we need the slope. Well, since it's going down from left to right, we know it's going to be negative. And then we want to count. So down 1, 2 over 1. Down 1, 2 over 1. So that would be a -2x. If you want the 2 over 1, you can. It's the same thing as -2. And let's go ahead and write our interval. So we have an open circle and a closed circle. So the first one's going to be open. the second one is going to be closed. So we can go ahead and add our line here. And we are going to be greater than the smaller number, but less than the bigger number. So let's figure out what those numbers are for our x's. On this one, we're at -3. On this one, what's our x value? We're at +3. So if we go up from our line, we're right there at 1, 2, 3. So we want to put a 3 and a -3. All right, let's continue our line for this one up here, because we've got to figure out where is our intercept. Where are we touching the y-axis at? So if we continue our line, we are at 2 for our y-intercept. So we want to go ahead and put a 2 here. And then we definitely want our x, because remember it's y equals m for our slope, x plus b, our y-intercept. So let's figure out what our slope is. Rise over run. So it looks like we're going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So that's just a slope of 1. Do I need to put the 1 in front of the x? No. We know it's there. So now let's take a look at where is this x value at for this open circle. And it's at 3 for the x value. So 3 out here. It is an open circle, so no line. Are we greater or less? Let's see. We're going to the right. We're keeping everything to the right of the fence. So that's going to be greater. So take it one step at a time, one line at a time, and you'll do great. Let's do one more together. Let's take a look at number 3. So this one, whoa, there's no setup for us. So let's just go ahead and kind of set it up ourselves. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3. So let's go ahead and make 3 lines, just like they had up above. And then we can put our if, just like up above. And then we can fill in the rest when we are ready. Let's start with this line on the left. We've got to continue it to figure out where it's touching. So it looks like we are going up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's kind of like 2/3 or 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. And continuing that line would, put us at 2. So that's going to be our y-intercept of 2 with a slope of, again, up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. So 2/3 x plus 2 is our equation. We have a closed circle, so we know it's going to be x, and it's going to have a line underneath there. Since there's only one dot, that means we only have one x. Remember, when we have 2 like that, that's when it looks like this, where it's got the 1x with the 2 inequalities on either side. So for this first one, we just have just the x and 1 inequality. So it looks like we are going to the left with our line. So that's less than or equal to. And what value are we at for x? Well, we're right there at -3. All right, for the next one, we are a horizontal line. So we know that's a slope of 0, and we don't put 0x. We just put the intercept. Well, in this case, our intercept is -5. All right, the next one, let's take a look at it. Actually, let's fill in this here. So we know it's x in the middle, and we're going to have 2 inequalities, an open and a closed. So we want to have greater and less than, and we want to have a line underneath that one, since the one on the right is closed. So our x values were at -3 for the open circle, and it looks like we're at 4 for the closed circle. So -3 on this side, 4 on this side. Let's continue this line right here. Looks like we are at, if I can get there, let's see if I can get this accurate here. Looks like I'm off just a touch. So if we kind of look at our points, it looks like we're up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, so we're on, I was on track there. All right, so it looks like we're just up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1 for our points with a slope of 1. So I'm not going to put the 1 with the x, and then our intercept here is at -1. So for this one, we are at an x value of 4. So let's put an x and a 4, and it looks like we are greater, going to the right with our line, keeping everything to the right. So x is greater than, and are we open or closed? We're open, so we just keep it as greater than. Okay, I want you to try these. Again, very important that you practice. Start with number 2 where it already gives you the form, and then try number 4 where you have no form and you're doing it on your own. Go back and rewatch anything that you need to from example 1 and 3, and please, please, please practice. So pause now, try it, and check when you're ready. All right, here is number 2. So pause the video if you need to, so that you can check your answers and see if you got it correct. Again, continue both those lines to find the intercepts, and then make sure that you're looking at the x values for your dots, and making sure that your inequalities have the line or don't have the line if needed. Let's take a look at number 4 and see how you did. Number 4, you had a little bit more freedom on that one to write your own. So make sure that everything is correct. Intercepts, slopes, and your intervals. I bet you did great. All right, we're going to finish up with this last page, page 15. Now, what should the graph look like? Well, let me give you an example. For this one, if it's x greater than some number, we know it's an open circle, and we know that we're going greater. So we want to have everything that's to the right. So basically, open circle and everything that's staying to the right. For this one, open and open, and we want to have everything between those two open circles. So two open circles and everything between them. All right, we want to have a closed this time and greater, so we want to keep everything to the right. So closed and to the right. And it could not always go up, but sometimes it could go down, right? As long as it's just to the right. This next one, right here, closed and open, and everything between the closed and open. And we know that it's not always a straight line. Sometimes it could be a slanted in either direction, up here, down there, but a closed on the left and an open on the right. Try these last 4 on your own and see if you've got those intervals down. Pause now, try it, and it's just a sketch. All right, how'd you do? Hopefully you had an open circle and everything to the left. You had an open and a closed and everything in between. And you had a closed and everything to the left. And over here, 2 closed and everything in between. And we know it could be slanted or down here, or as long as you just have 2 closed with everything between. All right, put any questions that you have down at the bottom here and make sure to ask those in class.